The journey to Libya was a hell of dust and death. It started on a rickety bus. Too cramped, too loud, the air thick with a stench of sweat and despair. Adebayo sat beside strangers, many of them like him. Desperate men and women, chasing a dream that seemed less real with every passing mile. The road to the Sahara was littered with broken promises. They crossed borders, bribed officials, and survived on nothing but the hopes they carried in their hearts. The desert itself felt like a beast, alive and watching, its winds biting and unforgiving. One night, after days of endless travel, they stopped at a makeshift camp where dozens of other migrants huddled around dying fires. The smell of burning plastic filled the air as men and women shared what little food they had. Adebayo had learned that food was rare, water even rarer. What seemed like a simple trip had already begun to feel like a lifetime. It wasn't long before the first man fell ill. His body shriveled with fever. His lips cracked with thirst. No one knew how to help him, and in the dry heat, no one had the strength to care. By dawn, he was dead. His body left unburied in the sand, like so many others who had made this journey before him. Adebayo tried not to look at him, but the image was burned into his mind. They pressed on. Days blended into weeks. The desert was endless, the sun an omnipresent force that battered them into submission. Adebayo's skin peeled and cracked, his lips split, his throat a constant ache. He fought to stay awake, to focus on the goal ahead, but the terrain grew unrecognizable, the air oppressive. They ran out of water, food too. They walked for days without any nourishment, only the gnawing hunger in their bellies to remind them of the fight they were enduring. Adebayo's legs became unsteady, each step a battle against his own body. He was no longer sure how much longer he could keep going. One night, when the stars were especially cold, the guide they had trusted to lead them through the desert, an old bent man named Fadil, disappeared into the night. His absence was noticed only when they woke the next morning. There was no sign of him, no explanation, just the empty space where his blanket had once been. The men who had trusted him began to panic. There were rumors. The guide had known the way, but maybe he'd led them into a trap. Maybe he'd left them for dead or worse, sold them to human traffickers. The fear was palpable, but they pressed on because what else was there to do? For most of the travelers, there was no turning back. The desert stretched in all directions, but ahead, somewhere ahead, was the promise of something better.